So now with Pawlenty dropping out, Rick Perry dropping in, and Michelle Bachmann and Ron Paul dominating the Ames straw poll, we got ourselves a race.
We have a top tier. It is Mitt Romney, Rick Perry, and Michelle Bachmann.
We have a new top tier, and it's Perry, Mitt Romney, and Bachmann.
There's now a top tier in this race, at least for now, of Romney, Perry, and Bachmann.
I mean, I think that's fair to say. Really fair to say? You're not forgetting, I don't know, anyone, say an ideologically consistent 12-term congressman who came within less than 200 votes of winning the straw poll? Isn't anyone going to give that gentleman a little love?
There's a top tier now of Bachmann and Perry and Romney, and, you know, we haven't mentioned, and we should, Rick Santorum, who did really surprisingly well for the amount of money and resources he had.
Rick Santorum, he didn't get half of what Ron Paul got. He lost to the guy who lost so bad he dropped out of the race.
You know, Ron Paul almost won the Ames straw poll, which we all made too much of, but the media is not going to be blown away.
Right.
They're watching a Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich runoff from here to New Hampshire to South Carolina to Florida and whatever's next. If Ron Paul wins Iowa, we just take it out.
In something called the Daily Caller, quote, poll, Romney leads New Hampshire, Huntsman third, Perry fourth. Now, do they know how to count? Why would they omit saying who was in second?
Well, you know why? Ron Paul.
Is there a media bias against him?
Well, first hit the mute button whenever Ron Paul talks. The man's an ignoramus, and his views are entitled to zero respect.
Shall I even tell them what I'm not going to do? Because then they'll do it? Okay, we get flooded every day with Ron Paul fanatics. That's number one. We don't take them.
But this Ron Paul is going to destroy this party if they keep if this is nuts on parade. The media loves this guy. What?
I would like to believe that if we have a freer society, it will take care of blacks and whites and everybody equally because we're all individual. But if we had equal justice under the law, I think it would be a big improvement. If we had probably a repeal of most of the federal laws on drugs and the unfairness on how blacks are treated with these drug laws, it would be a tremendous improvement. A system designed to protect individual liberty will have no punishments for any group and no privileges. Today, I think inner city folks and minorities are punished unfairly in the war on drugs. For instance, blacks make up 14% of those who use drugs. Yet 36% of those arrested are blacks, and it ends up that 63% of those who finally end up in prison are blacks. This has to change. We don't have to have more courts and more prisons. We need to repeal the whole war on drugs. It isn't working.
Ron Paul.
That's digging a hole for ourselves. What if they look like Timothy McVeigh? You know, he was pretty tough criminal. I think we're using too much carelessness in the use of words that we're at war. I don't remember voting on a declaration of war. Oh, war against terrorism.
Ron Paul.
And terrorism is a tactic. It isn't a person. It isn't a people.
So you say, quote, why do we have this automatic commitment that we're going to send our kids and send our money endlessly to Israel? I think they're quite capable of taking care of themselves. Congressman Paul, with all due respect, that doesn't sound like a candidate who will realistically challenge for the Republican nomination.
My friends, you don't have to, you don't need to do nation building in Israel. We're already built. You don't need to export democracy to Israel. We've already got it. And you don't need to send American troops to Israel. We defend ourselves.
Go to war anytime we want. That's our greatest problem, is we're involved in too many wars, and we should be very careful on how we go to wars. But if Netanyahu says that he doesn't need our troops over there, why am I not allowed to say that as well? When you devalue the dollar, and the dollar is going down every day, and the further the dollar goes down, the higher the prices of oil going up. We have to understand that.
But the Ron Paul people are the biggest a-holes of them all. Now, some of you may be thinking about Ron Paul. I promise you, his followers are the biggest a-holes of them all.
Damn, media don't like us, hell, just because we know the trust. 2012, stand tall, vote for Ron Paul.
Our national sovereignty is under threat.
Congressman Paul, thank you.
Where's Ron Paul? We disqualified him because his people slammed the poll.